The American Century, a legacy of resilience and the path forward. As the world grapples with unprecedented challenges, the question of whether we are witnessing the end of the American century looms large. In this turbulent election year, with the global order in flux, many wonder if the United States' time as the dominant global power is drawing to a close. In my new memoir, A Life in the American Century, I offer a perspective rooted in optimism, shaped by 8 decades of lived experience through some of the most defining moments in modern history. Having lived through World War II, the atomic bombings of Hiroshima, and the protracted conflicts in Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan, and Iraq, I've witnessed the ebb and flow of American power. The Cold War, which cast a long shadow over half the century, ended without the nuclear apocalypse we so feared. But this triumph was followed by a period of hubris as America assumed the mantle of the world's sole superpower, a position that came with its own set of challenges. This unipolar moment was fleeting, replaced by the specter of transnational terrorism, cyber warfare, and now, a new Cold War with a rising China and escalating tensions following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The world map, both literal and mental, has shifted dramatically in my lifetime. For these past 8 decades, we have lived in what Time publisher Henry Luce, in March 1941, famously termed the American Century. In the 19th century, global power was concentrated in Europe, whose empires stretched across the globe. The United States, then a minor player with a military scarcely larger than that of Chile, watched from the sidelines. But as the 20th century dawned, the U.S. emerged as the world's largest industrial power, a status it maintains to this day, contributing nearly a quarter of the global economy. When President Woodrow Wilson sent American troops to Europe in 1917, tipping the scales in World War I, the United States proved its growing might. Yet, after the war, the country retreated into isolationism, only to reassert itself during World War II under President Franklin Roosevelt. It was in this context, resisting isolationism and urging America into the fray, that Luce coined his famous phrase. Some have spoken of an American empire, but our influence has always had its limits. More accurately, the American century represents the era since World War II, during which the United States, for better or worse, has been the preeminent power shaping global affairs. There is, undeniably, a case for pessimism today. The United States faces significant challenges: political polarization, economic inequality, and the erosion of public trust. Meanwhile, China's rise as a near-peer economic competitor and the disruptions of globalization have sparked widespread unease. This contemporary era, still unnamed, is one of uncertainty. Yet, we have faced worse. The United States remains the world's strongest military power and its largest economy. While China has grown formidable, the U.S. retains several key long-term advantages. Geography: the United States benefits from the protection of 2 vast oceans and the stability of 2 friendly neighbors, unlike China, which borders 14 countries and is entangled in several territorial disputes. Energy security: the U.S. enjoys a significant energy advantage, while China remains heavily dependent on energy imports, a vulnerability in times of global instability. Financial power: the U.S. dollar's role as the world's reserve currency grants the United States unparalleled financial influence. A stable reserve currency depends on convertibility, deep capital markets, and the rule of law, areas where China lags behind. Demographic strength: the U.S. is the only major developed country projected to maintain its position in global population rankings. While the workforces of many large economies are shrinking, the U.S. workforce is set to grow, in contrast to China's, which peaked in 2014. Technological leadership: the United States continues to lead in cutting-edge technologies, from biotechnology to artificial intelligence. While China is investing heavily in innovation, it still trails behind in terms of research universities and groundbreaking advancements. The United States holds a strong hand in this great power competition, but it is imperative that we play our cards wisely. Hysteria over China's rise or complacency about its potential decline could lead to serious miscalculations. Discarding our most valuable assets, strong alliances and leadership in international institutions, would be a grave mistake. China is not an existential threat unless American leaders make it one through reckless actions. The historical analogy that should concern us is not 1941, but 1914, when missteps led to a catastrophic global conflict. My greater concern, however, lies within our own borders. The future of the American century depends not only on our external power but on our internal cohesion and moral authority, what I termed soft power in 1990. Even a dominant external power can falter if it loses its internal virtue and appeal. The Roman Empire endured long after it ceased to be a republic. As Benjamin Franklin famously said of the American government, a republic, if you can keep it. Today, political polarization threatens our ability to keep it. Civic life in America is becoming more complex, and technology presents both enormous opportunities and unprecedented risks. My grandchildren's generation will navigate a world shaped by artificial intelligence, big data, machine learning, and biotechnology, all while grappling with the existential threat of climate change. Some historians draw parallels between our time and the Renaissance or Reformation, eras of profound change followed by devastating conflict. The world today is richer, but also riskier than ever before. So, am I optimistic or pessimistic about America's future? I am, as ever, guardedly optimistic. The United States has weathered darker periods, the 1890s, the 1930s, the 1960s, and emerged stronger. For all its flaws, America remains an innovative and resilient society capable of reinvention. Perhaps Generation Z can rise to the occasion, just as past generations have. I certainly hope so.